and welcome to another episode of Beer for Breakfast, ABV. I am Danielle from Marty and Danielle in the Morning on 91X. As always, I have my beer drinking partner in crime with me, Paul Segura, brewmaster of Carl Strauss. And we're stoked to welcome back Mackenzie and Matthew from Burgeon Beer Company. Welcome back, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us, guys. It's great to see you again.
Great to have you on the show.
Too.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So, big news over from the Burgeon family. You guys are opening up another tasting room down here in Little Italy, and we're kicking things off with the Little Italy Hazy IPA. Let's get right into it, guys. Tell me all about this beer.
So this beer in particular, we've kind of been inspired to let people know where our new locations are as they've been coming up. We've opened the past year 2 new locations, and we literally thought we'd just put the location on a can and create a beer after it. So we always joke around that people are going to be driving around town with the can trying to find out where the location is, which would probably work, but I don't recommend it at all. This is a hazy IPA that we did as a commemoration for the opening of our new location, which is called the Arbor. It's going to be our scratch kitchen that we're doing with Chef Chewy from the Good Seed Food Company, and our new tasting room down in Little Italy.
Awesome. I am loving this beer already. Nicely done on this. So you've got one that's Oasis, correct? And there's a spot sort of next to your production brewery. What's that name?
That's called the Greenhouse.
The Greenhouse, yes. Okay. Sorry, I got us off on a little tangent there. I was trying to think back to my...
Yeah, you bring up such a great point that all of these locations are named. We wanted them to kind of fall under the umbrella of like Burgeon means to grow. And as we grow into these new locations, we want the names of the locations to reflect that sort of like central to our ethos is like plants. And you see that all throughout all of our tap rooms and sustainability and giving back where we can to the environment and brewing as sustainably as possible and all that kind of good stuff. So, we thought it'd be really fun to come up with names that kind of make you think of being outside or enjoying beer in these different settings. Our location in Escondido is called the Oasis because it's sort of a one of its kind in the area. There aren't many, craft beer spots in, near that particular location. So we sort of see it as an oasis in a bit of a craft beer desert out there. And the Arbor, I can't wait for Matt to talk a little bit more about like where we took the interior design side of things with the Arbor, but we wanted to kind of make you feel like you're either in like an arboretum with huge sweeping trees going above you, or whether you're like sort of sitting underneath an arbor with kind of greenery climbing up above you, and really create a transformative experience at that location. So,
well, when we saw Anthony, your head brewer, on Friday, he did say that Matthew has been down there putting up plants nonstop. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, it's been a fun experience. I've logged a few hours on a very tall ladder, and by a few I mean a lot. But it's been a lot of fun. We built a massive trellis over the top of the ceiling of this entire location, and from that trellis, we have a bunch of plants hanging down with little firefly lights and things like that. So it's kind of like you walk into this big, essentially an arbor, with the live edge cedar that we use at all of our locations and just on a more massive scale. So it's a cool, I would say it's an experience when you walk in there. You walk in, you look up, and you just are immersed in this lush greenery, which is a lot of fun.
And where is this located?
This is at 1326 Kettner Boulevard. It's on the corner of Kettner and A Street in downtown San Diego.
You are going to be a very good place to pregame before a waterfront event, for sure. And before the Casbah shows, man, so many good pre-gamings is going to happen at Burgeon.
Before Padres games, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, by the music box, I timed it, and we were about a 30-second walk from Santa Fe Depot. So selfishly, living up in North County, I can take the coaster down and get off pregame at the Arbor, then go see the Padres.
That's awesome.
And from the Arbor, it's just a quick little jump on the trolley, like maybe 2 or 3 more little exits south to the Padres, to Petco, or to the convention center or whatever. Yeah, there's a lot going on down there. I like the vibe that you described with the hanging plants and everything, man, and just, you know, how it fits in with your overall sort of motif or your shtick. It kind of tells me you guys have a pretty good grasp of who the demographic of like the craft beer drinkers are, you know, outdoorsy people like us.
Yeah, I think it all kind of just originated with Anthony, Derek, and I just being that type of person. Obviously, we're huge beer nerds, but we also love the outdoors and the environment and surfing and hiking and all of those things. And so when we created our brand and had the roots tied in here to San Diego, where we all grew up, we wanted to take that brand and use it with the trees and everything else that we're using in the space. So every space is pretty cool that it actually has a little bit of a different design. We have all the live edge wood that we reclaimed from the cedar fire of 2003. And let's say for the greenhouse, for example, we have a massive dome ceiling with a bunch of different green elements. And then we have the trellis downtown at the Arbor. And the brewery obviously has the brewery. And then the Oasis is kind of more of an Oasis type theme out there.
Yeah, one other point I wanted to bring up about the Arbor too is that we've got this like awesome sweeping trellis that Matt described, where you've got all this greenery. So that in itself makes you feel like you're outside, but we also have these floor to ceiling roll-up doors. So it doesn't really matter where you stand on the inside of that location or we have 2 patios as well that look out on Kettner Boulevard. But really when those doors are up, you just feel like you're on in a beer garden. You don't really feel like you're in a space. And I say that while with like, just to say also the interior is gorgeous. So I don't want to like, you know, make it sound like it's completely outdoors, but there's this kind of inside outside thing happening. So
you guys, that's so exciting. When are you officially open to the public?
We'll be open this Saturday, the 17th at 11 a.m.
Woo! Well, before we move on to our next beer, I do want to talk about the liquid in this awesome can. You know, the Hazy IPA, the Arbor, 6.3% ABV. I really want to give props where props is due. You guys make hazies that don't leave like that mouth coating that I get from some hazies. Your hazies are really well balanced. Anthony is just doing a really great job for you guys, along with the rest of the brewers as well.
Thank you. I really appreciate you saying that. It's, I mean, yeah, we should talk about the beer, right? It's a hazy IPA hopped with Strata, Citra, Matueka, and also some Citra Cryo in there. And we do our hazy IPAs a little bit different than a lot of hazy IPAs where they're a little bit more sweet and you kind of get that residual sweetness on your tongue. Ours tend to finish a little bit more dry, which we actually like a lot of our beers to be doing because then you go back and you take a sip, it's like taking a sip for the very first time.
Mm-hmm.
It is a little bit drier, and I'm getting different kinds of fruit here. I get like ripe orange, but I also get this strawberry, this nice strawberry component there, like ripe strawberries. And the two play really well together, and they just pop out of the nose on this. And I enjoy the dryness on this. I mean, it still has this mouthfeel from the oats and the wheat and everything, but then it kind of finishes, each sip kind of finishes leaving you wanting another one.
Yeah, that's the goal at least. And you want to feel like it's tasting it for the first time every time. And so you get that full flavor and aroma when you have it. It's funny you mentioned that, Paul, with the strawberry, because that's exactly what we get out of it as well.
I like this a lot. I could see you guys selling quite a bit of this. It's a nice addition to an already stellar lineup that you guys have. You know, when I go to Burgeon, I'm a huge fan of Trivana, right? And I've come to really, really enjoy the Clever Kiwi as well. That's kind of become my go-to.
Mm-hmm.
With all these great new offerings, it's hard to go back, and it's kind of a dilemma when I go there because I want to go back and drink these old favorites of mine, but then there's these new offerings that are equally as good.
Paul, I know exactly what you're saying. I actually was out at a bar and had Truvana, and I guess it'd been a while since I'd had Truvana, and I was just like, I forgot how much I love this beer. And I think it's because you guys continue to top yourself with every beer that comes out. And so, yeah, I mean, Paul, I would assume that you guys go through something similar at Karl Strauss, where you continue to make really great beers, and then you forget, like, oh yeah, like some of the original cast is awesome.
And some of those beers you kind of take for granted because they've been part of the lineup for a while, right? Trivana is an amazing beer. Everybody in Southern California knows it. Clever Kiwi's also got a great following, and you go down their list of beers there, and you're like, oh my God, yeah, I forgot. I got to have that one while I'm here.
Dude, Carlsbad Crush.
Carlsbad Crush, right? Pale ale with Mosaic, excellent beer. It's you got to make an afternoon of it when you go there, because you forget that and these beers are like old friends. They're so good.
Well, that's what makes me most excited about you guys being more down south. I mean, I live in North Park, and so to get up to Carlsbad is a little bit of a trek, and then it's more getting the back down here. So I'm really looking forward to going to the Arbor and sitting there and like getting the full treatment and then taking an Uber ride home.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. I really look forward to the time where we can all sit together and have a beer down at the Arbor. That'll be really nice.
True that.
Kind of refreshing that you guys chose Little Italy when everybody else seems to be like choosing North Park or South Park or sort of that area. I think Little Italy is, there's a lot of people there. There's, a lot of people walking around enjoying great restaurants and great bars, and there's a lot to do there. And I applaud you guys for choosing that area.
Thank you. Yeah. We tried looking I started looking almost 3 years ago for this location, and we wanted to be a little bit more off the beaten path. I know there's a lot of stuff in Little Italy and there's a lot of breweries around, but it doesn't have as many as certain other areas. And in doing that, we saw how close it was to Waterfront Park, to Petco Stadium, downtown Little Italy, all those things. Santa Fe Depot, and we just thought it was a no-brainer. We've actually never had a location that's not really a destination. If you look at our place in Carlsbad, it's in a business park. If you look at the Oasis out in Escondido, it's in a business park. And for the first time ever, we'll actually be in a pretty heavily populated area. So we're excited to see what happens.
Well,
you guys are going to slay.
I would say you guys should prepare yourself to sell a lot more beer, but I think you guys already are. You guys got a couple new tanks being delivered to the brewery this week, right?
We do. Yeah, we have 2 new 60-barrel fermenters showing up.
Dude, that's the other thing is I feel like every time I go, you're like, look at this new piece of equipment we got. And I was back there and I was like, Matthew's going to run out of space for equipment soon. You guys are just growing and growing.
Thank you. We feel very fortunate to be growing at the rate that we're growing, especially with considering the last year and everything that we and everyone else has gone through. It's we feel very fortunate that we have the support we do here in San Diego and the city that we know and love.
That is awesome. Well, before we transitioned into Mixed Greens Double IPA, I do want to give a shout out to that greenhouse that Paul had mentioned earlier. We got to check out that space. I'd never seen it before. And if I am able to talk anybody into ever marrying me, that is where it is going to be, because that was such a cool space. I may or may not have sold it to a couple that was looking at it. I would like commission off of that sale. But Mackenzie, if anybody wants to rent that space, do they contact you? How do you get into that space and how do you see it?
Yeah, we actually have an events coordinator. Her name is Melody Campbell. So if anyone is interested, we're going to have all of this information available at burgeonbeer.com as well. But for anyone listening right now, the best way to get in and see this before it's even super accessible to everyone else is to email melody@burgeonbeer.com.
There you go. There's your scoop.
But you just have to make sure that guy Caesar's not around, or he's going to scare people away. His office is sort of nearby, isn't it?
It is. It's really close. We had to lock the door when we're viewing the space so that Caesar can't come out and interact with them.
Feed me,
Just scratching the window. Don't worry about that guy.
Well, guys, Mixed Greens Double IPA. This is so good.
Thank you. I selfishly love West Coast IPAs, double IPAs, pales, everything West Coast. And this beer is very dangerous. This year, I think we hopped it was just some really terrible hops. I think it was like Nelson, Mosaic, Strata, Cashmere,
Burgeon Co.
All those. So we do every single time we have a rotating blend of different hops, and we do different hopping regimens to kind of see what we can yield from this beer. And I think this is my favorite batch we've done so far.
This is really good. It's aggressively hopped. It's got a nice amount of bitterness there, but it's not lacking the aromatics either.
Mm-hmm.
It smells as good as it tastes. I love this beer. I'm afraid to ask what the ABV is on it because I have a feeling it's a sniper.
It is. It's 8%.
Yep. It doesn't drink like it though.
No, it doesn't. I can personally attest to that.
You sound like you've had some trouble with this.
Yeah. The night it came out on Friday night, I had a couple of them. I didn't realize until they snuck up on me.
So
I can drink a lot of beer. I'm fine, but
I think part of the problem might be the flaked rice, which kind of contributes a lot of fermentables without a lot of the the mouthfeel and it makes the beer maybe perceive like it's lighter, even though it's not. But it also allows the hops to really poke through without interfering so much with them.
Exactly. Yeah. And with a double IPA like that, that's what we want. We want it to really be a robustly hopped beer. And it's going to have a little bit of that bitterness just for the balance in there. And it really gives the flavor and aroma something to stand on.
This is one of those too. I think typically with our West Coast IPAs, I think we'll have like 3 or 4 hop varieties maybe and really play around with how those interact. I think there are 6 total in this recipe. So you've got like so many different things happening, and you've got some Southern Hemisphere hops, some, hops from the Northern Hemisphere. So that it's really fun to kind of see that interplay between even more hops than we typically do. So it's a fun exploration, and it's really fun to see the different versions with each new year. I'm with Matt. I think this is my favorite of the mixed green batches that I've tried.
This beer does kind of hold a special place in our hearts too, because this was our one of the first beers we ever brewed at Burgeon, and our beer that we started home brewing to try and test out recipes. And it was our favorite home brew before we opened Burgeon. Anthony obviously was commercially brewing at Stone at that time, but this was one of his first recipes.
Bravo.
For anybody who might be confused as why you guys are saying like it's your favorite batch, I gotta fly. Sorry. Take note of the sort of rotating hop blend there. So people should expect a little bit of variance with this beer when they go to buy it, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So every time we come out with mixed greens, it's a different blend of 6 different hops. And we do that the reason we do all these new beers is we kind of push and try new things and experiment. And that leads to further knowledge and what we think is a lot better beer.
See, I just assumed that Anthony couldn't sit still and just had to continue to pump out new stuff.
That's too, Danielle.
There's that too, yeah. Plus, I think his mom sits at the bar and says, "You should make a beer that tastes like this or that or whatever." I don't know.
Shout out to Ellen. Dude, Anthony has the raddest mom ever. Shout out to Ellen. We had a good time with her.
She is awesome. We will make you laugh until your stomach is sore.
Yes. She's amazing.
Oh, I love it. Well, oh my gosh. Matthew McKenzie from Burgeon Beer Company, thank you so much for joining Paul and I for Beer for Breakfast ABV. We are so insanely stoked that you guys are opening up in Little Italy. We are so happy to have been on this ride with you. I mean, you know, we talk about this every time you come on, Matthew, but you guys were one of the first breweries to come on Beer for Breakfast, and you guys had just opened. So I feel like we've kind of grown together, and it's just been so awesome to see what you guys have been doing.
Thank you so much, Danielle. You know how much we love you guys. You and Paul are just fantastic. What you guys do for craft beer and this whole industry is amazing, and we really appreciate it. And thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to come and talk to you guys again.
Of course.
It's been a pleasure having you guys. And anybody out there who is not yet familiar with Burgeon Beer, what are you doing with your life? So if you're watching this, you got 2 days to prepare yourself to go to Little Italy and drink these beers. They're amazing. They're some of the best in San Diego. Ask anybody.
Yeah.
There it is.
Especially now that you guys are, you know, south of the 8, there is no excuse for anyone to have never tried Burgeon, because you guys now are covering the entire county. Thank you guys so much. Remember, every Friday morning, Paul joins myself and Marty on 91X for Beer for Breakfast around 9:05 Pacific Standard Time. We will be drinking Burgeon Beer Company for Beer for Breakfast this week. And with that, cheers to independently owned craft beer and radio in San Diego.
Cheers. Thank you both so much. It was a pleasure to speak to you as always.
Congratulations on your new digs, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Can't wait to have a beer with you guys soon.